Welcome back to Velf Creations. With Christmas just around the corner, we're excited to share some glass ornament engraving techniques to help you get a head start on your holiday orders. Let's dive in. These ornament projects were featured in a previous video where we demonstrated how to perfectly align two designs on opposite sides using the RA2 Pro and F1. If you missed it, we've included a link in the description below. Ornaments are one of our favorite projects to create with the xTool F1. And now with the Ultra, we can take on larger designs with even more possibilities. However, these techniques can be useful with any diode, IR or fiber laser. Alright, let's get started with the original F1. We will be using the Rotary tool for this first project, so we will remove the base plate and insert this awesome 3D printed part. It is not required but aligns the RA2 Pro perfectly. We downloaded this model from a shop on Etsy called Deco Lounge Designs. Link is in the description. We find that using these included ring studs positions the ornaments really nicely under the center of the work area and provide a pretty sturdy grip on the ornament without obstructing the laser. They are also super easy to install. Just screw them into each part of the chuck. Make sure they are all the same size and positioned the same distance from the center of the chuck. We use these glass ornaments from Michaels and they are often on sale for only $5 for a pack of 12. Such a great deal. A quick tip that we have learned: focusing your F1 to the top of the ornament and then lowering it down a tiny bit more will help you achieve a larger design because it will compensate for the curve of the ornament. Heading over to XCS, we can set up the work area. We want to switch it from base plate to the rotary, and we're using the chuck today. Great! Now we went to Creative Fabrica and downloaded this Merry Christmas design that we will use in all of our examples. We will resize and rotated it to match the orientation of our ornament, just like that. We also want to include the diameter in millimeters. Our ornaments are 2.5 inches, which ends up being 63.5 millimeters. We will start with the settings that we used last year in our project videos. Using the IR laser power set to 100, speed to 400 in lines per centimeter to 300. Later on in the video, we will cover the blue light laser and some of the benefits and drawbacks of that. Great, now, let's send this over to the laser and start engraving. We have tried shiny and matte colors, red, blue, black, and green. We stay away from lighter colors because some of those will not engrave. Since we are using this shiny red ornament, the engraving itself is a bit tricky to capture. But sometimes you will have some flaky red residue, which is no problem because it can be easily wiped off with a dry paper towel. The result looks great, but the method we came up with last year is to add a tiny bit of acrylic paint to the inside of the ornament. Tapping it all around will help spread the paint and covers your design perfectly. We still continue to use acrylic paint, but if anyone has tried others, let us know in the comments. This gold makes the design pop so well. After we have added the paint, we will typically flip the ornaments upside down into a cup to help any excess paint drain. It will take a really long time to dry if there is too much paint in the ornament. We match the gold paint to the top metal piece of the ornament, and here is the final product. This is such a great project to have at craft shows. You can have them pre-engraved with Merry Christmas and then add a family's last name and year on the other side. You can also have your customers pick out the perfect paint color. Onto the Ultra. We actually haven't used the Ultra for ornaments yet, so this will be a learning experience for all of us. However, we do know that the Ultra has a greater depth of field, which should allow us to create a larger design. We quickly realized that using the ring rods will push the ornament too far off center and sliding the RA2 Pro back is not possible. So let's switch to the regular chuck attachments. We wanted to take this time and thank all of our subscribers for your continued support. If you haven't subscribed yet, be sure to hit that button so you don't miss more fun laser engraving videos like this one. Don't forget to like the video, hit the bell icon for notifications, and drop a comment below to let us know your favorite product to engrave for Christmas. Great! The other chuck attachments now allow us to properly center the ornament underneath the center of our laser. Let's hop back into XCS and get our project set up for the Ultra. Again, we will use the same design and move it down to the starting line. We also want to make sure that the chuck is still selected in the top toolbar and that the diameter is correct. Perfect. For this first attempt, we will use the IR laser. Power set to 25%, speed to 400, lines per centimeter to 300. This took just over a minute to engrave, but as you can tell, there is a lot of leftover paint. Like the standard F1, this looks like it is completely engraved because the paint is flaking off. But let's see if we can do better. We will hop back into XCS to bump up the power and also increase the size of the engraving a tiny bit. It is starting to look better. However, even with the paper towel to wipe it off, we can still see leftover residue, and the edges are not really crisp. We will make one final change to power and also increase the size again. Remember, we are trying to see how large of a design we can get with the F1 Ultra. The final power we settled on was 75%, and this turned out much better, and the residue easily wiped off. We also suggest not using our go-to, rubbing alcohol, because sometimes that will remove the paint. Awesome. This is definitely the largest design that we have been able to fit on these types of ornaments. Next, let's try without the rotary. We designed and created this jig to hold our ornaments. This is a design and a physical product that we will like to sell, but will need some improvement before that. So from now until the end of October, we will have this design available free to download for early testers. We would like to hear your suggestions or issues you may have. We created it for 2.5-inch ornaments, and it works with both F1 and F1 Ultra. However, keep in mind this is an early prototype. Also, if you do not have a 3D printer, a bowl or rice or sand will also help you position the ornament perfectly. We used the exact same settings for this run, but we scaled the design down a bit since it is not rotating anymore. Again, the engraving turned out fine, but there was a lot of residue, and the edges were not that clean. Let's give the blue light laser a try. You may also have noticed that we switched to a matte color ornament. From our experience, we haven't needed to change the settings going between the shiny and matte colors, and we really like how these look as well. We kept all the settings the same as the fiber IR, but switched it over to the blue light, quickly realizing that was too much power once we noticed the glass flaking off. Yikes. But that means it has a better effect on the ornament, and we may be able to achieve faster speeds at a lower power. So we flipped the ornament around, dropped the power to 65%, and raised the speed up to 700 to try it again. This time around, the glass didn't flake, but had a bit of a matte look. So for our final attempt, we set the power to 60% and the speed to a blazing fast 1800. This took off all the paint quicker than the fiber and produced a nice clean engraving. These settings are really perfect for craft shows because it engraves so fast and you don't need to carry around the RA2 Pro. We are also able to create a pretty large engraving because the blue light laser has an even larger depth of field, allowing us to better engrave curved surfaces. Now that we know the blue light engraves a bit faster, let's try the same with the standard F1. We need to use a higher power and a slower speed, but still it is much faster than using the rotary. So if you are creating designs that do not need to wrap around the entire ornament, then this is a really good option. We also wanted to show you the acrylic paint that we like using. We purchased ours from Michaels and really love the metallic color shift look that it produces. We simply add a bit to the ornament and tap it around to spread it out. So cool! Here is one more example where we increased the size of the design. We could probably have made it even bigger with the blue light because all the edges are completely clear. We also wanted to share with you some other ornaments that we made last year. These were all with the F1, so we can't wait to make larger ornaments using the Ultra. We really like using wide designs like this, since it works so well with the RA2 Pro. With that, it brings us to the end of our video. Let us know what you guys think and tag us on social media with your creations for a chance to be featured in our stories. Thank you for watching and stay creative.